Oh, we're off.
Hi, Wildflowers. We're back.
We are number 78.
We're Laverne and Shirley. No, we're not. We didn't introduce ourselves last time.
They don't know who we are.
They know who we are. We don't have to keep on doing that.
Oh, we don't?
No, we don't.
All right, so we're not going to tell you at all who we are.
That's some notes I have there.
What?
I will
On
get
the
the
floor.
notes. Hold on.
Oh,
Okay.
We're
I'll
really
get the
organized.
notes person.
Your
I
notes-
won't
you
name.
lost your notes?
Okay.
Yeah, there's notes that that's my handwriting. I wrote something down.
You don't know what you wrote.
It's a love letter.
It's a mystery. Hi, how you doing?
So what
guys?
number are we today?
Oh,
We
What's
are
this podcast?
78.
78.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I did want to tell you, well, I already told you, but I'll tell them. I finally saw the Bon Jovi documentary.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
I know you're
You
a
didn't
fan.
see it, but
I'm not like a fan of Bon Jovi. I mean, I think he's a very good person, and
Yes,
but
I like what he
it
does.
haven't been like it's not my music.
Yeah.
Well, it is my music, and I am a fan. But I do have to. It was long. You know, I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was going to be long.
Four
Four parts.
four
It's
parts.
like little mini movies in a way.
Yeah, yeah.
I really liked it, and it answered a question because I did kind of sour on it a little bit when Richie Sambora left the band.
Right.
And I remember thinking, oh, this is really not Bon Jovi without Richie Sambora. He was very unique. That together, like, you could pick his guitar style out of a song.
Right,
At least
right,
I could.
right.
You know, I'm like, and to hear the kind of explanation of it, it made me have like a different appreciation where I'm like, all right, I'm looking forward to if they come back to go touring, I think I would go see them again. So, and you know, listen to their music, which has gotten a resurgence, I hear, on the charts. So
Oh, really?
Yeah, that a lot of their
Oh,
songs
okay.
are getting very popular. So I would highly recommend it. There you are.
Yeah, I watched it only because I knew Judy's a fan. It's not like I didn't like him, but I just didn't like him, his music. No, I like him as a person, like Peggy was
Yeah.
saying. I love
He's a
him.
very-
Yeah, he does good things
Right,
for his
and
community.
The
and,
best,
you know.
the most interesting part for me was his concern about his voice.
Yeah.
I found that really interesting, and you know that's your moneymaker, and you know, and he addresses the fact how his age, you know, is affecting him. He didn't want to give in to surgery, and that part I was really interested
He
in.
put it all out there.
Yeah, he was very
Well, that
honest and
happened
forthcoming.
to
Shania Twain.
Sound
did
of
it?
Music. Sound of Music lady.
Oh,
Julia
Jill-
Andrews.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't remember her name.
I was actually trying to think of the real woman from
Mary
the
Poppins.
But yeah, no, you're right.
She
Yeah.
didn't get her voice back.
No, she didn't.
No.
She didn't.
And that's
She
gotta
started
be,
writing children's books with her daughter
Yeah,
instead.
that's a
Well,
very
that's
good. Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
You know, good for her.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you know, that's
no,
true.
I'm not mocking her.
Oh no, I know that,
Yeah.
and no, I never even thought
I
you would.
admire her. I just hate that movie.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
I
of
don't
Sound
like
of
Sound of
Music.
Music. I
Yeah, it's
love
a horrible
Mary
movie.
Poppins.
Mary Poppins I liked
do.
too.
Do you know what?
You don't like it?
I never saw it.
You never saw it?
I
Really?
just
that
it
and
does
Willy
that-
Wonka.
That and Willy Wonka.
What
I
is
just
wrong?
it's
Mary
just-
Poppins was
it's
good. There
just-
was one scene in it, even my kids, when they used to watch it when they were little, it was too long. The one dancing with Dick Van Dyke,
Oh.
it's like, stop, that's too long.
Okay.
Interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was never. I don't know. They just never intrigued me enough to want to sit through it and watch.
This explains a lot. we gotta have a serious time to show
I
you.
see
these
you
movies.
have cards in
I
front of you.
have
What
cards
are
in front of
that?
me, but I also have a word, and I wrote
Yay.
this word down weeks ago, but we
Okay.
haven't been together.
Yeah.
Right.
And now I'm trying to remember how to pronounce it.
Oh, that's hysterical.
Okay? So don't look.
No, no.
Don't be a
I
cheater.
couldn't
No,
see
I
that.
actually put lines under each, so I think it's called petrichor. Petrichor.
Could you spell it, please?
Petrichor. Petrichor.
I don't think I've heard of that one.
No, I've never heard
But
of
it's
this one.
something that we've all enjoyed.
Petrichor.
Well, I enjoy my pets when I don't yell at Lacey for pacing.
Petrichor.
Something.
Yeah, like the
No.
word isn't going to tell you
No,
what
it's
it means.
not.
I was very
Isn't that
surprised.
All right, all right. So we all enjoy
Is it something
drinking
to do
wine.
with like pastries or desserts?
No, it has something to do with smell.
Plants, some kind of
Well, a kind of, but not a plant.
flower.
And it's something that all of us have said, oh my God, doesn't this smell wonderful? So it's a distinctive scent. usually described as earthy, pleasant, or sweet, produced by rainfall on very dry ground. You know that smell in the summer when it rains and you have that wonderful smell?
Petrichor.
Who knew that there was such a word?
Not at all. I
You
did
know.
not know. And you reminded me of my mom because
Yeah.
she did always love that. She was like,
Yeah, oh, me
I love
too.
the smell, you know.
Petrichor.
And all of a sudden, when you said that and you talked about the earth and stuff, did anybody here, even though Peggy and I tried, to see the Northern Lights?
Yes, I did. I
We
woke
tried.
up every night, like between 1:30 and 2.
You woke up? Oh, really?
I set my alarm. Yeah,
Oh,
and then
see,
I
we
would
didn't do
better
that.
than us.
No,
Yeah,
and
no.
I was the idiot downstairs in my pajamas going outside, and I
Yeah.
just looked out there, and my dogs were all like, "What are you doing?" And probably and I looked. I didn't see anything.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
pretended that we did.
Yeah.
Well, this is what we did. First, she came to my house.
Yep.
Then we went out to dinner, of
Yes.
course, and had some wine.
And it was a really good dinner.
It
and
was
the
a
wine
very
was
good dinner and good wine.
Well, let's see
And
where the restaurant is. Let's get
And
the
Wild Honey in
In
Oyster
Oyster
Bay.
Bay.
We've
Oh,
never had a
gosh.
bad meal in
Yeah.
that place.
Okay, got
No.
it.
We
You're
tried
right.
to go to the wine line, but we can never get in every time we go. So the girl there gave us a
The
secret.
secret, yeah.
A secret of how to get in.
Don't share.
Yeah, no, but I'm not going to share. So anyway, then I said, let's go out to eat because I had read that the best time to see it on that day, which was
That was a Saturday. And-
Saturday,
Yeah.
they said the best time to see it is right after sunset.
Oh,
Right.
really?
So we went down because I live right on the
Yeah.
beach.
And that was so,
So
much fun. That
so
was
we
fun.
went down to the beach and it was still too early. So along in Theodore Roosevelt Park, runs along the water. It's a very nice little park. They have all these memorial benches and they're dedicated to like dead people. It's like a cemetery, but it's benches. So we made fun of everybody. We made jokes about everybody,
made
but
jokes.
with good humor.
Yeah, we weren't mean-spirited or
Yeah.
anything, but
But there
come
is one, I show Carol my favorite one.
Yes.
But every time I take a walk, I always stop at that bench. Because most of them, it's just, oh, you were the best dad,
Yeah.
rest in peace, blah, blah, blah. But this one I was always impressed with because they put this nice saying. I don't know if it's from something.
It's a
I had
song.
never, it is a song?
Remember when
Oh,
you
that's
talked
right.
about
You
that?
told me that,
Let
but
there
I
be
didn't know.
Peace on earth. And
Yeah, so it says, let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. Let there be peace
Oh, I've
on
heard of that
earth, the
song.
peace that was meant to be.
Yeah.
And I always, every time I read it, I said, oh,
See, I love that.
you know.
I don't even know how I can put this in words, but I love you were so touched by that. Like there's some certain phrases and things that maybe we're more touched by it than somebody else, but
Yeah.
it meets you where you're at that point.
Like the
Exactly.
thing that I brought you from
I
Ireland.
would just
I
thought the
had to
same
buy
thing.
that. I read it. I almost cried when I read it. I'm not
Aw.
kidding.
I want to
I
make
really
Carol cry.
No, it just really, really touched
Yeah.
me, that sentiment. And so anyway, so after we did that, then it started getting dark. And then we said, okay, so I have my best camera with me, and we're seeing nothing.
No.
So then as it got darker and darker, then we moved to the other beach right next door. There's two beaches
Yeah.
right next to each other. So we moved to that one because there were less people there. But it turns out everybody was going down at that time to see the Northern Lights.
Yeah.
So I said, oh, they said if you look through your camera, you can see them. So then I was taking pictures, said, well, doesn't that look a little bit like it? And I took one picture through her windshields, and it was so dirty. It was sparkling.
Yeah, we're like, what are these spots?
I know.
Oh, it's the dirt on my windshield.
So no, we didn't see anything,
No,
but we
well,
did have fun.
I
Well,
took
that's
one,
it.
I took
Yeah.
one sent to my kids, and I went, ooh, like the camera, ooh, and they all made fun of me. They go, what, is there an earthquake?
No, I didn't see him, and I can't say that I had fun.
Have you ever seen them?
No, that's on my bucket list. I gotta go do.
Yeah.
So I was hoping to knock it off the
Go
bucket
to
list.
Norway, right? You might go to Norway
No, I
next
don't
year?
think we're gonna go to Norway.
Oh.
It's oh.
I wanted you to go. My
No.
sister-in-law said it's beautiful.
Or
Yeah,
Iceland, I hear you can
Yeah,
see.
yeah, we've been
They
trying to
have a
figure
lot
out.
of volcanoes there.
We're trying to figure that out. But actually, when I was talking with my friend on the phone today, who's originally from upstate too, she goes, when we go upstate, she goes, I think it's still active, and we might be able to see it
Oh.
up there. So yeah, because I saw it when I was a
Aren't you
kid.
going up then
She's
too?
she's
Yeah.
doing
You should come, do a
I
road
wish I
trip.
could.
I wish you
When
could.
is that?
30th we're leaving.
Of this month?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, no.
Yeah, I had a feeling.
Yeah.
We
Oh.
what was I going to say? Oh, I saw the Northern Lights when I was a kid. No, I don't know if I ever
Yes, no,
told you that story.
well, we were talking the bucket list. You mentioned you did see them.
Yeah, and it was scary.
You
'cause-
saw the Blessed Mother too, though.
No, I didn't.
Didn't you?
No, oh
When
no. Oh, I saw a glow in my
Yeah.
head, but that's a very personal story that I don't want to share right now. But no, I did see the Northern. You're making it sound like I did not see the Northern Lights.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you're saying no.
No, I remember you told me the story and you were scared because you never saw them before.
I
Well, I didn't know what it was.
Story.
No, I woke up my mother because I was like, I went in the kitchen to get water and I looked out the window and the sky was moving in all different colors. I went, oh my God, the world's ending. Yeah, I was like 11,
The
12.
sky is falling. The
Yeah.
sky
Yeah.
is falling.
So I knocked on my mom's bedroom door. I go, Mom. Yeah, and
The
so
world is
yeah,
ending.
and I said something's weird in the sky, and so she came and she looked, and she's so cute. She tried to make it a learning moment for me.
Oh,
and
how
she
nice.
goes, "It's the Northern Lights." Or Aurora Borealis, and, you know, and
Oh, that's
yeah,
sweet.
very sweet. But anyway, so
Yeah.
I guess we did have a topic to talk
Yeah.
about. I don't know if you wanted to do one of those first.
You want to do one or no? I don't care.
We don't have to.
1, 2, 3, I'm pulling the card.
Oh, there you go.
That's
This is famous women that you probably never heard of.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so, wait a minute. To which movement did Beyonce pay tribute during her Super Bowl 50 performance in 2016?
Oh, I
I'm
should
out
know
because I
this.
didn't watch it. I don't watch this.
Yeah, but
stuff.
think Beyonce, what movement in
Black Lives
2016?
Matter.
Oh, Black Lives
Right,
Matter. Okay, there
right.
you are.
Very good,
Okay.
Carol.
Bing, ding, ding,
Good,
ding.
good,
I'm
good.
gonna.
Use your brain.
This
Okay.
is Games Room Famous Women Quiz.
Okay.
And this is called wine.
There
That
we
is
are.
cool.
Woo-hoo.
And it's my turn, and I know you only want a little
Just a little
drop.
bit for me, please.
I know. I
Thank
want
you.
enough for that you can smell it,
I'm gonna
though.
smell.
Miss Peggy, could I have your glass,
Yes, please, my fishy glass.
Your fishy glass.
I love my fishy glass.
Judy got us these glasses.
Mm.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Very
It's a
well
pretty
done.
color.
It is.
Well, it always
I
looks
left my
very pretty.
chart in the bag.
It looks very pretty, and this it just
Oh.
dripped. Oh well.
You dripped twice.
I think three times.
Yeah.
Once, twice,
Three
times a lady. Okay, all right.
All right, I'm gonna say garnet. And
It's a beautiful color.
I'd like a ring this color. It's
It
beautiful.
doesn't have a very strong aroma.
I think it's got a
I
nice
can
aroma.
my allergies. I can never smell anything anyway, and it's not fair.
I love the name of it.
It's got.
I knew you would like
I'm
this.
gonna
Stones
say
and Bones. That's
Yep.
awesome.
Black cherry.
Yep, Stones and Bones.
Oh, black cherry.
Well, I will read. Well, should we taste?
Yeah, let's taste.
Oh,
I can't.
I know.
Yeah.
You'll,
Well, I
you'll,
can't.
you'll
It's-
explain.
I'll explain later.
Yeah.
I'm pregnant.
I almost spit my wine out.
I thought that when you told me before that you were going to try and trick me again with that. It's very good.
Stones
Yeah,
and
I like it.
At least it doesn't have that awful label like that other one.
She did not
I
like that
hated
lady.
that label. But
Why
the
do you
wine
like
was
it?
so good.
Yeah.
But
What
the label.
label?
Remember that's
the
like that.
evil one?
Oh, yeah, that was a nice
Do you-
one. I like
oh,
scary
Peggy,
labels.
I know,
Peggy's
but
eyes
that label,
went-
I-
I even though I know it's good, I don't know if I would buy the label.
Yeah. No, I
See,
get
their
that.
label doesn't go with their name, though. Stones and Bones should be like a skull and crossbone
No,
or something.
no.
They have a wreath there.
I'll buy that. I like that
Okay.
label.
All right. So
Portugal.
all right. So Touric Nacional is a variety of red wine grape considered by many to be Portugal's finest. Despite the low yields from all its small grapes, it plays a big part in the blends used for ports, which I'm not. I
Oh,
don't
I
like.
love port.
I don't like ports.
I do.
They're sweet ports,
Yeah.
right? It's a
I
dessert
like it.
one.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's if
Yeah.
you have a good. The
Okay.
older ones are great.
Right. And is increasingly being used for table wine in the Douro and Deo.
Yeah, we did a Dow, I think.
Dow.
Adoro, I remember I did a wine from them, and the Touriga Nacional,
Okay.
the Portuguese
All right.
wines.
They provide structure and body to wine with high tannins and concentrated flavors of black fruit.
Yeah.
Janice Robinson has compared its relationship with Touriga Francesca to the partnership between Cabernet Sauvignon and Cabernet Franc, the former providing structure, the latter filling out the bouquet. So it's got a Syrah, and also known as Shiraz, and is a dark-skinned grape grown throughout the world and used primarily to produce red wine. In 1999, Syrah was found to be the offspring of two obscure grapes from the southeastern France, Jereza and you do your, Blanche.
They use Blanc.
Syrah should not be confused with Petit Syrah, a cross of Syrah and Peloursin. These are all names dating from the 1880s. It's a bold wine of firm tannic structure and excellent complexity. And let's see, because there's all these different grapes.
It's a blend.
Yeah, right.
It's 30% Syrah, 25% Tinta Roriz, and 15% Alicante Boucher.
And what's the alcohol content?
The alcohol content is 14%.
Oh boy.
Oh, that's 2 in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
I like Portuguese wines.
Yeah.
They're very good.
They are very
Yeah.
good. Absolutely. So
And
how much?
consistently, I would think.
Yeah.
I don't know. Are you able to
No.
guess a price point?
No, it smells nice. Let's say
It
17.
smells like it's about, I would go with Portuguese wines. I would do $14.99.
$18.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's worth it. I mean, it's a very nice wine.
Oh, so I did
Yeah.
okay this
So
time.
how much
Yeah,
would
you
you
did.
like this? How many wildflowers?
Oh, how many wildflowers?
I like this. I would give it like a 5,
Oh, very
4.75.
nice.
It's very good.
Oh,
Yeah,
missing a
It's
good
it has a nice body to it.
Okay, good. All right, so I would. You know what? I'm gonna go with you. Yes,
Yeah,
5.
I'll give that to
Because I wasn't
smell.
sure.
Nice and dry.
Yeah,
Oh,
I've never had
I
this
love
before.
a dry wine.
Sorry.
Yeah, you would like it.
Oh yeah, I think I would.
Oh well, I don't want to rub it in.
No.
Excuse me as I put my nose all
So
the way
it's
in here.
called Stones and Bones Reserva,
Ah, very
2020, Portuguese.
Very good. Now,
Portugal's a nice country. I would like to go back. It's cool.
nice. It would like you to go back. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure it would. So I have the book.
Okay.
Tell us about it.
Okay, so I recently read Amor Towles' book, The Lincoln Highway. I always say the Lincoln Library because when I was a little girl, we didn't have like a big set of encyclopedias. We had this one big fat book, and it was called the Lincoln Library, and that's where we had to look everything up.
Oh, that's
And the
so
other
fun.
day, I was talking to my sister Maureen, and I said, "Yeah," I said, I'm reading I thought I said the Lincoln Highway. She said, "What? You're reading the Lincoln Library?"
Oh.
So I said, "Oh, because that's stuck in my
Yeah.
head." So, but anyway, the Lincoln Highway. He's the same author who did a gentleman in Moscow, and Rules of Civility.
Okay.
So this book takes place in 1950, and there are like 4 main characters in the book, but there's more characters that are minor characters, but every one of the characters in this book like had this unique personality that somehow like pulled me so far into the story. I really, really liked it.
So
Intriguing.
when you said that, it makes me think like, so he was able to, even the minor characters, you could relate
The
to.
minor characters were a big part of the story. They had a big effect on the story. Like
good.
maybe they're not in the book a lot, but their presence in this story, had effects on everything
like
that
that.
happens.
I like that.
And I like the way it was written. Each chapter is like one of the characters, Duchess.
right.
It's his
Okay.
point of
Okay.
view.
Gotcha.
Then there's Emmett, there's Billy, there's Sally, there's Wooly. And this story takes place in 1950, as I said, and it starts with this young man. He's 18 years old. His name is Emmett Watson. And he's in the car of a warden of a work farm, and the warden is driving him back home. He had been sentenced to a work farm for, I forget how long he was there, 18 months or something like that, for involuntary manslaughter. And it was this kid who was always picking on him all the time and making fun of his little brother. And one day he finally faced off with him, and he punched the kid in the nose. And the kid fell back and struck his head, and he died.
Oh, boy.
Now, they live in this little town in Nebraska. So he's coming home from the work farm, and the warden knows that, like, he's a good kid. They're motherless. Their mother, he has a little brother named Billy, and the mother left them years ago because she couldn't stand the life there that their father had given her. Their father came from a wealthy background. You don't find out too much about that, but he gave up a life of being fortunate. He was one of the lucky ones, but his family had money. He gave it up because he always wanted to work on a farm.
Oh, wow.
So he bought this land in Nebraska, but he was a failure at everything. He couldn't grow anything. They didn't have any money. And their property, their farm, went into foreclosure. Then the father dies too. So now this kid's sent away to a work farm, and the little brother goes to live with a neighbor while he's there. So the plan is for Emmett to come back, and he had found an envelope with some money in it that the father hid, and told him, he left him a letter and said, get a new start, and there was like $3,000 in it. So one of the jobs that he did before he went to the farm, he learned how to do carpentry. Instead of working on the farm with his father, he had a plan that he would learn how to build. And he wanted to go to California, and he was going to buy with this money like really cheap houses and rebuild them and flip them. That's what he wanted to do.
Okay.
So he comes home, and Billy comes back to the house, but unbeknownst to him, until hours later, in the trunk of the warden's car, 2 of the other inmates from the work farm were in that trunk, and they got out of the trunk and they hid in the barn. And so then he's kind of surprised to see them there. He was friends with them in there. So the characters are Emmett Watson, who's the 18-year-old young man. Billy Watson is his 8-year-old brother. Then there's Duchess, and Duchess he's trouble. Like, you kind of like him, but as the story develops, you see he's a very damaged person. He had a horrible upbringing. And you learn about that. Like, he traveled with his father. I think his mother died, and he travels with his father, who was in this troupe, a theater troupe, but they were like not a good one. Like, they went to all these little towns, and they just traveled, and the father was an alcoholic, and he was exposed to a lot of things that he shouldn't have been as a child. And then there's Wooly, who comes from a privileged background. A very wealthy, well-known family in New York. He was there for stealing a fire engine, actually. He was, he saw this fire engine just parked someplace, and he said, oh my God. He was a little off, Wooly.
Yeah.
He's the most lovable character. Like, I fell in love with him. And he said, oh, I better return this fire engine to the fire department, not knowing that the firemen were in the supermarket where it was parked. So he takes it and he brings it to the fire department, leaves it there, and goes, and then it turns out there's a fire, and the firemen don't have the fire truck, and somebody died in the fire. And then they found out what Wooly did. Somebody had seen him, so he was at the work farm for that. And then there is Ulysses, who is one of the minor characters. And he is an ex-service person. He was in the military during World War II. And he wanted to join and fight for his country. He's a black man. And his wife didn't want him to. And he did it anyway. And she said, when you come home, me and your child will not be here. So he was kind of like just roaming around on the freight trains. He's such an interesting character. Pastor John is a badass. He's a horrible person. And then the Professor Abernathy. Billy carries around this book, and it's called The Compendium of Heroes, Adventurers, and Other Intrepid Travelers. And he's obsessed with this. It's a big red leather-bound book by this man, Professor, I think his name was Samuel Abernathy.
Okay.
And it's like Billy's Bible to life.
Right.
And then there is Sally, who is, she lived on the neighboring ranch. And you'd think that she's in love with Emmett. You know, that's what I think. You know, it's kind of up in the air. Maybe she just wants to get out of there.
Okay.
But she and Emmett are friends, but I always got the feeling that she was in love with him. So anyway, they want to go to California, but one day while Emmett is doing something else, Duchess and Willie steal his car. And they want to drive to New York because Duchess is looking for his father, and it's for nefarious reasons. So anyway, the Lincoln Highway, I found out, I had no idea, is a real highway. And it starts in Times Square in New York, and it goes to San Francisco.
Oh my gosh,
And,
I never heard that.
And they were building it, they started building it in the early 1900s. This one man, I should have written down this information, but I didn't. But he said, like, we need to have, you know, people are driving cars now, and he was an automobile enthusiast, this guy. And he said, but there's like there's no good roads. Like one county would have a dirt road, nothing connected.
Right.
So he really started the interstate system. And the Lincoln Highway is pretty much where Interstate 80 is now, that goes all the way across the country.
Oh.
And like Route 66. And it was never completely finished. There were 42 miles of it that never really got finished or paved somewhere in the middle. But at the time, the highway, this guy was trying to get privately funded to build the road. And he asked Ford. And Ford said, no, the government is the one that's supposed to be doing this stuff. So he did get some people to help, and they started working on it. But he's the one that really started, like the government saying, oh yeah, we need roads in this country, you know, to connect states
I have a
to
question.
each other.
Now, was that part in the book, or is that research that you did?
No, that was research that I did. I mean, they explain kind of
isn't that funny?
that the Lincoln Highway went from New York Times Square to San Francisco, and I said, how come I never heard of the Lincoln Highway?
So
and I looked it up, of course, because I always have to go down the rabbit hole.
Right.
And there's a lot to it. A lot of people were involved.
Interesting.
And I just love this book. And it took some twists that I didn't really like, but the ending...
But were they believable?
Yes, they were.
Okay.
They made sense when you read it. But I said, no, I didn't want that to happen. You know. But I highly recommend it. I love the way it's written. He's a beautiful writer. I also loved A Gentleman in Moscow. That was an awesome story.
It's a good book.
Did you ever read that?
No, but I know the book.
It's awesome. If I had it, I lent it to someone, but nobody knows where it is. But anyway, whatever. I highly recommend it. I give it like 10 Wildflowers.
Wow.
It took me a long time to read, only because I kept on getting interrupted. Life was interrupting me with my reading time. And I was away. And I brought it with me to Ireland. But you know, when you're on vacation, you don't really have time to read. You think that would be the time. But you don't, because you're doing other things and you're with other people.
And you're tired.
And you know, and you're with other people. You know, I'm not going to say, oh, I'm going to go read now, you know. So, but anyway, I do highly recommend it. It's a great, great story.
Well, you know, I felt, this sounds weird, but I really felt sad when you were talking about it, because it just goes to show how many books are out there that I want to read.
Yes.
And,
I know.
And,
you know what?
and it's just so interesting.
You reminded me that I wanted to read a part of this book. I know I'm going on a little long. It's short. But the reason why I want to read it is because it's something that I think most people don't think about when they're young, but you start thinking about it when you get to be my age. And it's something from the Professor Abernathy, and it's on page 506. All right, it starts over here. Okay, so the professor is starting to think that, his children are gone and he's been holed up, and eventually Billy does get to meet him. I mean, that's a little bit of a spoiler, but the story itself is just so fascinating how that happens. So the professor is thinking, I'm holed up in this place in Manhattan, like he's a much older man, and like he used to be very adventurous, and he sailed the 7 seas, and he kind of talks about, how his children are gone, his wife died, and his 3 very good adventurous friends, they all have a problem. They're all the same age. So I will just read this here. But one day, years after the convergence had begun, you can not only sense the inward trajectory of the walls, you can begin to see the terminal points in the offing, even as the terrain that remains before you begins to shrink at an accelerating pace. In those golden years of his late 20s, shortly after arriving in New York, Abacus had made 3 great friends, 2 men and a woman. They were the heartiest of companions, fellow adventurers of the mind and spirit. Side by side, they had navigated the waters of life with a reasonable diligence and their fair share of aplomb. But in just these last 5 years, the first had been stricken with blindness, the second with emphysema, and the third with dementia. How varied their lot, you might be tempted to observe. The loss of sight, of lung capacity, of cognition, when in reality the 3 infirmities amount to the same sentence, the narrowing of life at the far tip of the diamond. Step by step, the stomping grounds of these friends had shrunk from the world itself to their country, to their county, to their home, and finally to a single room where, blinded, breathless, forgetful, they are destined to end their days. Though Abacus had no infirmities to speak of, his world too was shrinking. He too had watched as the outer limits of his life had narrowed from the world at large to the island of Manhattan, to that book-lined office in which he awaited with a philosophical resignation the closing of the finger and the thumb. And then this extraordinary turn of events. A little boy from Nebraska appears at his doorstep with a gentle demeanor and a fantastical tale. A tale not from a leather-bound tome, mind you, not from an epic poem written in an unspoken language, not from an archive or anthemium, but from life itself. And that really, like when I read that, that really struck me.
Yeah.
And how, like you're so much younger than us, but I fight not to have my world shrink.
Yes,
Like you really put yourself out there. You try not to turn down any adventures or any opportunities to learn new things or have new experiences. And I just love the way that part of the story went too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a beautiful book. So the end. I'll stop talking about it.
That was a review and a half. That was great.
I encourage you all to fight not to have your world shrink. Seriously.
Yes.
I'm not making
It's
a
like
joke.
the poem, fight against the
The
dying of the light.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's what good books do. They really, I mean, it's just that, again, as you're reading. I'm
He's
like,
such a great writer too.
like,
It just
I'm
flows.
I'm thinking
It
of all
flows.
the books on my stacks and stacks of books I want to
I
read,
know.
and I'm just like, it's
But
just,
you have them. They're
That's right.
aspirations.
right.
You
Oh,
know,
oh,
it's-
absolutely. Yeah. No.
It's a challenge.
Yeah, it is a chat. Oh, is that? I'm wondering, is that going to be the topic for today?
Yes. Should I start?
I would think
You should
so.
start.
yeah.
All right, so we're going to talk today about challenges. And I looked up the definition of challenge because Peggy always looks up definitions of words, and it's got a few different, meanings to it. But the one that I thought was fitting for today was something that, by its nature or character, serves as a call to battle, a contest, a special effort, etc. And you were talking about fighting to not have your world shrink, and we are at different stages. I wouldn't say you're so much older than me, but we're at different stages too. And right now, my life is in that. I feel like moving constantly. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know where I am most of the time. Like, this is my breather sitting here,
Yeah.
you know.
And
Yeah.
just real quick, you know, there's a lot of times that Peggy and I do things together, and we're like, but we never want to, you know, make.
Like we
Oh.
know, like you have 2 kids, 2 teenage
yeah,
kids. You
yeah.
have a husband. You know, we have more freedom.
And
we work. We have a full-time
And I
job.
never take offense at it.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that sounds fun, but I get it. I'm really hard to schedule.
I
You
know, and a lot of times
can't
we
even.
say, "Oh, Judy would have loved this."
Yeah,
you know?
and I probably would have, but I just
Yeah.
can't. Like I wanted to go to the event you guys had yesterday,
Yeah.
but and I had planned to,
Mhm.
but I couldn't at the last minute because of due to a change, and
Yeah.
so whatever. So but as that goes on, and that's probably the life where I'll be for the next few years.
Yeah.
Because anyway,
Yeah.
I realized my birthday was a month ago,
Mhm.
and I'm like, I don't have any challenge. Like it's just keeping my head afloat. Really, a lot of days.
But you have a lot of challenges.
No, I mean like a personal accomplishment
okay,
or
okay.
like a quest
Oh,
or to
all right.
challenge to do something.
I see what you're saying.
How am I going to challenge myself? Like some
I
people
get it.
train for a marathon.
Right.
Heck, if I can get the dog out for a walk
Yeah.
a day, I'm like, I count that as a win. I don't
Yeah.
know. I can't
Yeah.
train for that. I don't
Right.
have that block of time, that's especially a reliable block of time, consistent, where I
Right.
could say, oh, I'm going to go to this gym on this day or whatever. Then life,
Yeah.
it just doesn't, my life is not that way. And so I had my birthday. Actually, I was sick from my birthday.
Yeah.
I got a really nasty case of food poisoning or stomach virus. It was just the worst. And as I was things were coming out of both ends.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this sucks. I'm like, it really sucks. I said, I need some challenge. I don't know why, but something was just speaking to me. Like, I need a challenge. I'm like, what else could I do in my life that's like would be hard, but I feel a sense of accomplishment, but that I could have some control, that I can make sure I do it.
Mhm.
Really, the only thing I came up with was alcohol. I was like, I think it'd be hard, not in a bad way. I don't have a problem with alcohol, and I think you ladies would agree
Yeah.
with that.
Well, yeah. of course.
But I was like, that's something I have found time to do consistently, because it's usually either at the end of the night when I'm reading, or I don't want to give up reading. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to see if I could not do it for a year. I've done it for a month before, like
Yeah.
for dry January. I was like, I'm going to just not do it for a year.
Got the heebie-jeebies thinking of that.
Well, I came up
it's
with a word.
because it's not that's not a challenge
Yeah.
that I would want to take on. Because
I don't wanna-
I enjoy it
you don't
very
want-
much. I enjoy
Well,
having
you
my
do
glass
too.
or 2 of
I
wine.
enjoy it.
I mean, it's,
And I wouldn't give up something that gives me pleasure.
but at the same
Unless it was bad for me, if
Well,
I was a raging alcoholic,
right. But technically, alcohol is a toxin.
I know
it's a
it is.
poison.
I know. Mhm.
And I go, you know what? Maybe I say books aren't except if you're a certain political affiliation, then they're
Yeah.
bad for
Uh-huh.
you. But in my world, they're not bad for me, and I want
Yeah.
to read them, and that's something I could, usually enjoy a glass of wine while I'm reading or something.
Mhm.
And I said, you know what? I'm not giving up the books because I just got myself into a flow with books, which is
right,
nice.
right.
I said,
That's-
let me try giving this up for a year. See if I can accomplish that.
Yeah.
And I looked into it. I came up with a word which we're not going to use, because I said out loud, I said, this will be like the urinal, where you give up no alcohol. And I go, oh, say that fast. It sounds like urinal.
yeah.
I go, forget it. I go, there's no word for this.
That's too funny.
So anyway, year of no alcohol. I kept looking it up, and I said, okay, what are some benefits that I have to look forward to this? Okay.
All right.
Again, I had no problem doing it. So I had no withdrawal symptoms or
Right,
anything like that.
yeah.
I think if people do have that problem, you'll notice that. But
Oh,
for
yeah.
me,
Yeah.
I didn't notice anything like that. But what you said, I have to look forward to is better looking skin, because alcohol dehydrates you, and so your skin gets more elastic, less redness, less discoloration. So let's see what happens. Weight management.
Well,
that
yeah,
piqued
that's-
my
I know.
interest.
Anytime I've stopped doing
Oh,
the
yeah.
alcohol, I lose weight.
Absolutely, because it's as you know, as
Uh-huh.
you're getting older and you go
Mhm.
through certain changes in your life, you just can't take off the weight like you
Yeah.
used to.
Right.
Now I've always, even when I was drinking alcohol, I always fluctuated with the weight. Like
Mhm.
some days I'd get on the
Yeah.
scale, I'd be like, oh my god, I'm 5 pounds heavier
Uh-huh.
than yesterday.
I know.
How could
Right.
that be? So after I can report for a
Right.
month, it hasn't fluctuated
Yeah.
much. I have consistently kept off 2.5 pounds.
Okay.
The first
All
month.
right. That's good.
And so I don't see that big fluctuation. At most, I see a fluctuation about 0.5 pound, which is
Yeah, that's normal. That's normal
Yeah,
anyway.
it really
Yeah.
depends on what you're doing. And,
I think,
the
but
water.
anyway, that's right. Anyway, so that's something I thought of. So I could deal with that. Better nutrition because you're getting regular digestion. You know, your that process is working more consistently. So things that are coming out are better too.
It's funny that you mentioned that because I was thinking, because I do have stomach problems.
Yeah.
And I often think, and actually very recently, like 2 days ago, I said, I wonder if it's the alcohol that's doing it, because I always think, oh, I had ice cream last night, or I never say, oh, it must be the wine that I drank.
Well, the research I found shows that there is a link to that.
I bet there is, and I said I should really look it up, but I don't want to know.
I looked it up, so now you know. Okay, better immunity, increased immunity. So people who drink alcohol get more colds, flus, and illnesses.
Okay,
More
so this I'm going to defend.
Okay,
you
good.
know, because when we went to Ireland, Aaron's mother, Karen, got sick.
Okay.
Bad cold. Guess who was sitting right next to her? I had the middle seat in the car. Coughing, coughing, coughing. I had to keep on turning my head. Then Aaron got it while we were there. Sick. This very bad, like, respiratory thing. Then we got home. I went home the next day, and Samantha texted me. She got it. Then everybody got it but me.
Oh.
But was everybody drinking too when they were there?
Yeah, everybody. Well, yeah. All Aaron doesn't drink.
All right, so
I don't know.
what's your point?
My point is, I didn't get it, and I was drinking.
But they were too, and they
It's
got
not
it.
100%. They're just saying, like, you know, that
But you don't drink a lot.
statistically, let's just say statistically, they're seeing a higher increase in immunity for those people who.
Okay, well, I guess that makes sense.
Statistically, a lower cancer risk as well because
that
alcohol is a carcinogen.
Yes.
Yeah, I have heard.
And so, I don't, you know, I think I should have known that. I didn't know if I really knew it was I knew it was toxic.
They
but
always
it was,
talk about it being
Anyway,
carcinogen,
so-
and I tell them, shut up.
These are the cancers that are
She's
linked
an angry
primarily to alcohol consumption: breast cancer, colon cancer, rectal, esophageal, laryngeal, liver, oral,
Pretty much
and
all
throat.
cancer.
Hey, I'm just telling you. Okay, lower heart disease risk. You know, mental health benefits. And I thought that was what I was worried of because I
You mean higher heart risk?
lower. I'm sorry. What did I say? Lower heart disease risk. You have your risk of a heart disease is lower if you stay off the alcohol.
Oh, I thought you meant by drinking alcohol.
Oh, no.
Pour me another one.
No, the one
we don't mean to make
No, we're not making fun of
I'm just, and again, I don't know if this is my resource. All right,
No.
The mental health benefits, which I was surprised about. They say people who don't drink alcohol have better stress management skills, relationships, work, and higher self-confidence.
I could see that.
I was surprised about that because, you know, I felt relaxed when I had drank alcohol.
Yeah, I think maybe they're thinking more of alcoholics, where like you depend on that. It interferes with your life.
You know what?
You know, when you're an alcoholic, it's because the alcohol now is actually interfering with the rest of your life.
You know what? You might be on something because I have to say, when I was looking for research, I'm probably going to get like emails or tailored stuff for alcoholism because most of the articles were written for overcoming, admitting you have a problem.
Right. Yeah.
There was very little articles that I saw that were just about, hey, you just decided to take this challenge and to do it, and so it could be something like that. Better sleep.
That is true.
Because they say alcohol relaxes your throat muscles. And so you might find that you have more snoring when you're drinking alcohol and sleep apnea when you're drinking alcohol. It improves the quality of the sleep. You get a deeper sleep, which that I can say I've gotten I never really had sleep problems, but I'm in a deeper sleep now than before.
Okay.
Cognitive benefits is the last one. Better memory, clearer thinking. That, I mean, a month in, I do have to say, and I'm not going to go into it, I said, but I'm doing some more creative things. I find myself time that I haven't done since I was probably like teenager years, you know, that I've done. And I go, wow, it's just sparking a little bit more. So
it could also
that
be that like the time that you spend, because having sitting down at night and having a glass of wine is like a form of entertainment. It's very relaxing.
Yes, it is.
So instead of doing that, you're doing something more creative and productive. So
It's possible. To be honest, my routine hasn't changed.
Right.
You know, I'm still.
Like
it's
you
just,
still sit down and relax.
like usually do. I'll take the glass of wine and I'll sit down with my book and I'll read. But instead of the wine now, when I'm just not using it,
you're
the
still
same time.
sitting
It's
down
not like
and
I got
reading.
any time.
Yeah.
I got no time back. You know, I'm just. But things are anyway more clear. But anyway, then it made me think about this book, which I picked up. I should show you. It's called The Good Life. I mentioned it probably about a year or so ago. I read it. This is a nonfiction book by Simon & Schuster, Robert Waldinger, Marc Schulz. Came out last year, 2023. Excellent book. It's Lessons from the World's Longest Scientific Study of Happiness. This was done by Harvard, a Harvard study group. It studied group of people in Massachusetts.
Didn't we do that survey?
Yes.
That was the test that we did that time. I gave you all the tests, the happiness test.
The happiness test,
Yep.
right? It probably
Yes,
came
it
from
was.
this.
It was the Harvard study.
This study did from 84 years worth of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it made me look to say, do they have anything on challenges in here, whether there was a link? So I was like, I wonder if people are happier if they do it. What they did have something similar where people who face adversity, which is also a type of challenge, you know, when they overcome that, you know, especially if they're surrounded by how they deal with it and how they deal with the challenge, they surround themselves with people, then they're happier in overcoming, even if their circumstances are miserable. For example, they talk about two different women. One was named Abigail, one was named Lucia. It's on page 144 of this book. They both discovered lumps in their breasts, and they went to go to their doctor. Now, Abigail, how do you deal with a challenge? That's what I wanted to ask you guys too. Is Abigail turned away from it? She was just like, I'm not going to let anybody. I don't want to worry anybody about this, and she turned away from the challenge. She hid, she ignored, she didn't want to discuss it, right?
Yeah.
Lucia, however, she turned into the challenge. She shared the news with her husband, her daughter, you know, friends, and like involved them in like the decision-making process, involved them like for their input and all of that. Both of them were afraid, you know, and both of them ended up getting cancer. They were cancerous lumps. But because of their style for coping with a challenge, it affected the treatment, and Abigail died. She waited too long.
Oh,
Yeah.
And
that
Lucia
makes sense.
survived.
Yeah.
You know, and so I thought that's an interesting topic to talk about is what are your challenging styles? Like when you face a new challenge, number one, whether it be something hard, do you tend to be more of an Abigail or a Lucia? Abigail turned away, Lucia, you know,
Faced it head on. Yeah.
What
Well,
are you?
I think I face things head on. I mean, we're thinking of my divorce, and then you know the challenges of you know keeping my home, financially, and just dealing with it. I can't just brush it under the rug. That's not me, and I don't think that's you either.
No, it's not me
No.
at all. No,
Yeah.
I face things head on.
Yeah.
I just internalize it first.
Right, and that's what I was
I
thinking.
like to think about it
Right,
first
right.
before I
She
put
does.
it out there.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to think about what I have to do, you know, and how I'm going to get through this before I say, "Oh, okay, friends, this is what's going on with
Right.
me."
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
And I think I'm a little opposite. I think I was an Abigail for a bit, and then I think I'm more of a Lucia now, you know, because I'm realizing you can't ignore things. They're not going to go away.
right.
But unlike you know me, I need to tell everybody
Yeah.
everything right away, you know, so I
Yeah.
think in that way,
Well, you don't do it.
I think so. Like if there's something serious,
Yeah.
no?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think that she's pretty
Yeah.
out front with things.
I told
You're
you I lost my chicken yesterday.
You finally.
Oh, you were the other. You were back in the box, yeah.
I'm sorry about your chicken.
Thank you. But I mean, there's like,
You want a duck? Jessica has baby ducks.
I would love a duck, but I can't have a duck. But okay, so then challenges. The other one they talk. Another one, which if we have a second, they was talk about a woman named Peggy.
Oh, okay.
She was married at 26 years of age to the nicest man in the universe. She said, great man, loved him. But it all fell apart because she had to come to the terms that she was gay.
Oh, yeah.
And
that happens.
She couldn't hide it, and when she was afraid to come forward, and her whole world was falling apart, and then they actually showed the excerpt of her survey in here, which was kind of cool. These are her answers. So they went, in the last one, how often have you been upset? Often. How have you felt nervous, and how often you felt nervous and stressed? Often. How often have you felt confident about your ability to handle your personal problems? But she would say often, right? How often do you feel difficulties piling up so high that you could not overcome them? Rarely. Her whole world was falling apart, yet she felt confident enough to take this on. And when they looked at the correlation why, she answered all down this column, and I'm pointing to it, she circled all of these things in the same way, and they all had to do with how much does each statement describe you? Friends care about you a lot. Family cares about you a lot. Friends help you with serious problems a lot.
Yeah,
Family helps you. She's got support.
Yeah.
And that's what it comes down to. So her whole world fell apart in doing. She thought people would hate her because this is also over 84 years times towards gay weren't as spoken about at that time, but it didn't, because she knew she could tackle it on there. And I thought that's a good lesson. This book had a lot of good lessons. I'm not going to part with this one. I go back to it every now and then.
You can't because of the coffee.
I know.
As you can see, coffee. I rested my coffee on and spilled it.
Well, I think that our happiness does depend on the people that we surround ourselves with.
That's a good point.
That's the most important thing. Like, none of us ever had a lot of money, and we don't live in luxurious circumstances. But, we all have, people in our lives that support us. I have, my kids, and I have my siblings, and I had my parents, and...
Well, Peggy was telling us before, we're off camera, that how she, every year, goes away with her siblings.
Yeah, we do our sister trip, we call it.
And we were talking about that, and we were just like, that is awesome.
It is, and we do it every year. And we have a lot of fun. We act like assholes, and
but the fact that you all value that, you make the time.
Yes.
To do that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I go back to. I don't even know if I'm going to share this on camera, but I go back to when I was so young. I think about this often. I don't know if you do too, because when you get married and just how life was, and it's just. But I remembered when my then to be husband, he said he loved me, it scared the hell out of me. And I remember telling my mom, because she was like, what is wrong with you? I was so depressed. I was so sad. And I said to her, and through tears, I said, I don't want to love him because I don't want to lose him. And I said that. I was like afraid of death. Not of him cheating, of death. Like I don't want to be, I almost like I wanted to protect myself from being hurt. And my mom listened, and I don't even know if she even offered any advice, but she goes, I think you're in love. That was, but, and I remembered that, and I was just like, but when I was ready to divorce him, I'm like, I grew up, I matured, but at that point I was just like, I don't know, it was like a fearful thing to me.
It's kind of like getting like a pet, like getting a dog.
Oh.
And you think about, oh my God,
that
dog's going to die in 10 years, and then my heart's going to be broken. And
I feel for all my kids with their dogs. So we've all had these pets, and we know what's to come, and it's the pet needs us, and that's
it's just very difficult.
Yeah.
You just love them.
If anybody loves, there's one of my book, I give it to people who loves a book. Eugene O'Neill wrote a very short book called The Last Will and Testament of a very distinguished dog.
I think I read that.
I might have given it to you, because I've given it to people over the years.
Have it.
And it's so sweet, and he wrote a poem, and one of my favorite parts of it, and I'm just going to paraphrase it, is that don't ever say that you love me so much you can never love another. the best tribute to a dog is to say, I loved you so much, from now on I can't be without another.
I did read that. I wonder where I read it.
That's right.
I don't have the book unless you lent it to me and I gave it back to you because I don't have it.
Orders. Maybe I showed.
Because it's in the dog's voice. The
Yes,
dog is
Lemmy is the name of the dog,
Yeah.
and I actually just gave it to my boss a year or so ago. He lost his dog. It's a great book.
Yeah,
and I would like. It's very thin. It's something to.
Would
give.
you recommend that as like somebody that just recently lost a dog as a gift?
Yes, that's what I do when I hear
Yeah.
somebody that really is like I usually I always like put like in memory of whoever the
like
dog.
that.
Yeah.
And you give it to them. They make one for a cat too, so you do
Okay.
it for a cat too.
I love
But it's
that.
by Eugene O'Neill, and
Yeah.
it's great.
Yeah.
It's lovely.
Well,
So,
what if
but
it's-
anyway, before we finish up, I just thought I would ask you ladies. Okay, so that was something I could
No,
do.
we will not
No.
give up wine.
Yeah,
for you.
no way.
You know what else?
Okay.
I told my husband this. He goes, I'm in. And I said, no, I'm telling you not because I want you to join me. I'm just telling you that's why, because he
Support
was
me.
off. Because he was off. Usually when he's off, we'll drink wine together
Yeah.
or beer or something. And he was like, oh, we're gonna have wine today. I was like, no, actually tonight. I said, I'm just let you know what I decided. I'm not gonna do this. And he goes, oh, that sounds great. I'm gonna do it too. He did it too. He's
Yeah.
a day
Good
after me, so I could hold that after him. You know, but he's so
Stuck
that's
with
here,
it.
which
Oh,
makes it so he's
good.
doing it too. Which I said,
That
you don't
makes
have
it
to
easier.
do it. I go, I
Yeah.
don't want. I didn't tell you that because I wanted you
Yeah.
to do, but he
Right.
did it. So he's doing it too. But anyway, that's what I can do as a challenge because that's my life. Is there anything you guys have always wanted to or feel like you could challenge yourself to do?
We opened up a bookstore.
Okay, but I mean, now, like, to continue, like, that was a great, but is that, you always, to work towards something, is there something you want to work towards to challenge yourself more?
Well-
Something to think about, anyway.
Well,
yeah.
I do the Spanish stuff, even though
Yes,
I'm
that's
terrible
true.
at it. I stick with it.
Yeah.
I take 2 classes now, and
Oh, I didn't know you took a
yeah, I've
second
been
class.
doing that for quite a
Oh,
while.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay, good.
Yeah, and and another challenge that we faced was because of you.
What?
When you wanted to do this podcast,
Oh,
and
yeah,
I said, "What
I'm
is
like,
she
oh, no, what
out of
did I
her mind?
do?"
I don't know anything about doing it. I'm not doing it. I'll be the camera person."
We thought you would not, we never thought you would say yes.
No, exactly. But you had the camera, so you had.
We
to-
needed
Yeah.
you to say yes.
Yeah,
But no,
so-
we won. We
and that
we
was
good
a
at it.
challenge,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
That's
we're
true.
learning as we go.
Obviously.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously.
you?
Oh, I have, I just wrote a blog about it on medium.com, and it was about, it's very disturbing when I read the obituaries. I'm like, oh God, 10 years from now, I'll be that age if I live. Those kind of things. And I thought, the biggest thing the challenge for me is finishing all the books that I want to write.
Okay.
Because I have one that's in bed right now. I'm just letting it gestate, and then what I'm working on now, and I'm like, hopefully that's not it. Because even when I wrote my first novel, I thought, I don't think I have any more novels in me. And then I did, so, I know I'm not really cliche, but that it may not sound like a lot, but to me, that's my
Writing a
challenge.
novel
Yeah.
is a lot, Carol.
You'll be like Grandma Moses.
Exactly.
I don't know if I'm happy or not. No. And my challenge is to live to 100 healthy. No, seriously. No, I don't know. I don't,
Yeah.
like you said before, like, fight now to have the world not shrink.
Not
That's
sure.
right.
Not shrink.
yeah.
And,
Put
and
yourself out there.
right,
Exactly.
right. And all right, she's gonna jump all over this. My challenge is maybe traveling a little more.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Amsterdam.
Uh-huh.
I couldn't go this year because I'm on my book tour, and that's another
Yeah.
challenge is getting.
And that's a
book
good
tour.
accomplishment. I always
Yeah.
thought about this when we were talking about that. You have been working towards that for a while.
And it's I don't know. For me, it's like a passion. It's like this sounds ridiculous, but it's almost like not a choice for me. I have to write. If I don't write, I get antsy. I was just talking
Yeah.
to a friend, to Roxanne, on the phone today. We were talking about spring cleaning, and I was like, I did 2 rooms so far, and I said, but then I think I gotta get writing again. I want to get to my book. But I do mentally write when I'm cleaning. I meant like plot out scenes and that kind of thing. But you know, I did 2 rooms so far. I'm just like.
When I was pregnant with Jessica, I was going to Lamaze classes, and in the woman did it in her house. She was a nurse, and she had this thing hanging on her wall that was embroidered, and it said, "Cooking and cleaning can wait till tomorrow, 'cause babies grow up. We have learned through our sorrow."
Yeah.
So
Call that the cobwebs.
and light and dusk go to sleep.
I'm rocking
My baby and babies don't keep. But it's the same for like your books are your babies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
You know, like and all that stuff could wait. You know.
It can
It's
wait.
true. It's true.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, you know, and then I see the dust. I'm like, oh, it makes me anxious, and I have to dust. You know? But anyway, no.
Yeah.
So, I am eager now to see what happens when the year is up for you.
I am too, because we are taking a big family and an extended family vacation in the summer, so that's in.
Are you concerned about this?
Well, no. Oh, I'm not concerned. I can do it. I like to drink. So my cousins are coming with me. You know, my siblings will be there.
Atmosphere.
We'll go a beach atmosphere. We're going to Puerto Rico. You know,
Yeah.
so I'm like, that's.
Yeah.
I would really like to.
You know what you
Vibe
could do?
in that
You
time,
do
but-
mocktails
Well, that's what I'm
because
going
they
to do.
taste just like
I
a cocktail.
They do, and you know,
Good
Guinness too. Guinness has something called Guinness Zero now,
Oh, right. Yeah.
which is excellent.
Yeah.
So you could drink that too. So I mean, that
There are
or
ways
ways
I
around
actually
mocktails,
bought. It was on Easter. Peter's mother doesn't drink because she gets sick when she drinks. Even the littlest bit of alcohol affects her
Okay.
negatively. So, like, she used to have a glass of wine with us, and so I was making my order on Total Wine, and I just looked up non-alcoholic wine. So I found this brand Prosecco, and I said, well, let me order it and see how it is. It probably tastes like crap. It was freaking delicious.
Oh, send
And
it to
she
me.
was so happy. I have to look on my
Yeah.
past ones to see the name of it. And she said, oh my God, no, you have to taste it. It's delicious.
Send that to me if you don't mind,
Yeah.
because I do miss the taste. Of, like I love the smell of this.
Yep,
and all this stuff. And I do enjoy wine. I was happy I didn't miss it. I didn't.
Uh-huh.
You know, I
No,
know
right,
side effects.
yeah.
But I do enjoy it, and so maybe that's
Yeah.
something I could think about when I go to Puerto Rico later. And
Yeah, and
I
like
just
the
need to
mocktails, like
participate.
Aaron doesn't drink
Yeah.
just by choice. He just
Right,
never
right,
drank.
Right.
And like, you know, we all drink. He comes to visit and we go there and we all drink. And if we go out to dinner, he'll order a mocktail.
Yes.
Most restaurants serve them
He's
now.
a designated driver.
Yes,
That's right. He's always the designated driver.
that'll be me for a year. So
Oh, good.
get it in now.
So what did you think? Did you like
They
it?
are.
What are your challenges or that you would like to be challenged by?
It could be something like I want to, walk from 2 miles every day, or
Yeah.
something like that,
Or I joined the gym and I really want to go to it.
yeah, not just
I
pay
haven't
the
been
membership.
there.
Yeah.
I joined it 2 months ago. I haven't been there once.
No.
I've been so busy. I really have. I feel a little overwhelmed sometimes.
Well, you know what? You can't beat yourself up over
Yep.
that. You do what's right for you.
And anyway, I hate
Tell
the
us
gym.
your challenges.
I like the gym, but I don't.
Tell us in your comments.
Yes, thank you for watching.
Thank you, everybody.
Yay.
Till next time.
That was an interesting topic.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Bye, everybody. See you
Bye.
next time.